for Drop Spotlight here with a special guest today. We're here with David Bianchi of RZR. How you doing today, David?
Hey man, what's going on, brother? How are you, man? Thanks for having me this morning.
Oh, amazing, brother. Amazing. I'm glad. Thank you for taking the time today to come talk to us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Always excited to talk about, art, filmmaking, inspiration, all the good things.
Oh, perfect. Great to hear. And that leads me to my first question. Can you tell me a little bit more about RZR?
Sure. RZR is it's a new science fiction series, and it takes you into the world of neural implants, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark sides of black market crime. It takes place in an alternative dystopian Los Angeles in this area of LA called the Grid Zone. And if I have to describe it, I describe it as sort of like Black Mirror meets Mr. Robot with a cyberpunk edge and maybe a little bit of Blade Runner.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah.
interesting, man.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique world, and a lot of it's inspired by the work that I've done in Web3, and I work a lot I worked a lot, and I still do work a lot in NFTs and blockchain and cryptocurrency, and so a lot of the elements from a narrative perspective are inspired by that world, and also very much inspired by Elon Musk Neuralink technology.
Oh, this is really cool because like not people talk about this kind of technology in films and TV shows. Everyone always skips ahead, like, oh, look at this, look at that. You're more in depth and you know what you're doing in that, and that's really incredible, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, the arc of the story is basically I play the lead character, a character named Grim, who is a returning combat veteran after some nuclear war took place in Eastern Europe. And thematically, he wants to make the world a better place, and he believes that humanity needs to do better for itself. So he develops this technology, which is basically BCI, which is brain computer interface technology. So he creates this implant that he, through a series of self craniotomies, installs it into his brain, and it allows him to access all data in real time, execute, download, and trigger in a nanosecond. So when you think about Elon Musk's Neuralink technology, think about that, but
Ooh,
infinitely more powerful and infinitely more efficient. So imagine if you, Vic, in real time could access the internet and then trigger that thought in a nanosecond, it would likely make you infinitely powerful. And so
wow.
in this dystopian reality, Grimm has to he works hard to do what he can to make the world a better place, but trapped in this sort of den of thieves, and he has to, walk I guess, the dental floss of his own moral compass to try to be the lesser of evils amongst a world of really dangerous people.
Dude, that's really cool, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Really, really cool. I dig that. It's not too much science fiction out there that actually has real world elements that you put in there, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, from a science fiction perspective, I wanted to create something that didn't feel so far-flung and far-fetched, right? When I watch shows like Black Mirror, what makes Black Mirror so fascinating is one, the technology and the futurism of what's developed in it, but also how eerily close the technology feels. It makes it feel dangerous. When you think about like swarm drones or like drone bees and things like that, like these are things that are already being created. And so when I sort of envision the world of RZR, and just for some context, I'm the co-writer, I'm the creator, executive producer as well. And so when I was creating this world, I wanted to create a world that felt eerily present and eerily close. Hence, creating a world that was an alternative dystopian reality as opposed to a future reality where there's flying cars or people are teleporting or taking off to faraway cosmoses. Those are science fiction tropes that I think I enjoy, but they tend to remove me from the world. And when you watch RZR, it's going to feel very much just like what's going on in the inner cities of most cities in America. So in that respect, it will feel very intimate, and I think will make it feel quite possible and somewhat probable.
Nice. That's very interesting. I know readers are going to enjoy that big
Yeah,
time.
I think, look, at the end of the day, it's all about making a really, really interesting and really badass show that has some interesting things to say. And if you like science fiction, you'll be in. If you like gritty dramas like The Prisoner, you'll be in. If you like cyberpunk, you'll be in. If you enjoyed The Matrix, you'll be in. So if you enjoyed, even if you watched like The Creator, for example, and I'm using cinematic references because I think the show itself is cinema first, but it
Mhm.
happens to be packaged in an 8 episode series. And heads up, it's a short form episode series. So each episode is about 15 minutes.
Okay.
And really leaves you with a cliffhanger at the end of every episode, I think. We
Ooh,
work pretty hard at that.
wow, that's great to hear. I love those cliffhangers.
Yeah, yeah, you kind of need that, right? Um you need a note to make people salivate and want a little bit more. And I could say that, a couple of people have seen it so far and unanimously, 10 times out of 10. I haven't met one person that has watched episode 1 and not wanted to see episode 2.
Mm, that's awesome. I noticed in your new series, you have a cast such as Richard Cabral, Emilio Rivera, Mina Savari, and many more. As a filmmaker, how rewarding is it to have such good actors and actresses to be part of your series?
Well, it's I mean, I feel very fortunate and very, very blessed as I was developing this project. And look, we made this on a shoestring budget, as far as, budgets are concerned, television budgets, let's say. And at the end of the day, and I'm a classically trained actor. And now when I get offered it, like if I'm auditioning or even if I get offered a job, there's a couple of things that I'm always looking at. There's three things for the most part. One, who's directing. Two, who's the DP. And three, what's the script and what is the world I'm about to immerse myself into? Because as an actor, once you say yes, you're committed, right? You have to deliver to your upteenth degree. And so the Greeks said, if it's not on the page, it's not on the stage. And I believe that that is fundamentally a truth about Razor. And that's why I was able to attract incredible actors like Mina Suvari, for example. I mean, look, Mina didn't work on this project to play an antagonist and be a badass because it was going to pay off her mortgage. Like, we didn't have that kind of money, but she was really, really inspired by the words on the page. And then she looked at who we are. She looked at my body of work as a producer, and she knew that we were going to trust and she knew that she could trust us. She knew that we would protect the integrity of her brand and allow her to step into the shoes of a persona she's never gotten a chance to play. Um, this is my first time working with Mina, and I mean, American Beauty. I mean, it still feels a little surreal, and as an actor to be able to work alongside these incredible human beings is really a blessing. And, guys like Richard, again, I've been watching him since John Ridley's work on American Crime when he was nominated for a Primetime Emmy. Emilio, like I've known Emilio for over 12 years. We
Oh,
worked on yeah, our first movie was a project called Philly Brown. That's the movie that made Gina Rodriguez a star that went to Sundance. And I did some of the writing on that project as well and some of the musical tracks. And, Danny, I had produced projects with Danny going back another 10 years. So a lot of these folks, many of the actors in the cast were already either colleagues or friends, but people like Mina and Richard was the first time, man. And I think it really is a testament to the amount of detail and the attention and the focus that I put into my work and the team that I've been able to assemble that when people see Razor, they want to be in it. I'll tell you right now, it ain't going to be hard getting talent for season 2. I'll tell you that.
oh, sweet. That's great to hear, guys. All those names, I was like, you got them? What?
Yeah,
And
it's a
that's
blessing.
really awesome.
Yeah, it's a blessing. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
No problem. And as the talking that you were filming, was it a challenge to film yourself while directing yourself while filming
Sure.
Razor?
Well, let me give you some context. So I didn't direct any of the episodes. I
Oh,
had
okay.
three I had three directors, three incredible directors who I've been working with a minimum of 7 years. So Yuri Alves directed 5 episodes. Christopher Fulkins, who I've been working with for over 15 years, directed two. And then my co-writer, Daniel J. Pico, directed 1 episode. And I've been working with Daniel for 18 plus years. So, everybody that's in my core are basically people that I have worked with for a minimum of 6 years, including my producer, Noel Hubble, and my line producer, Stephanie O'Neill, and so on. But being the creator and being that every aspect of Razor had my creative clearance on it,
Mhm.
whether it's art direction, production design, whether it's the sort of glass that we're using, the camera work, the camera movement, the camera psychology, the props, all these things had my approvals on them. And so it was very, very challenging. I'm gonna be honest with you, it was the hardest fucking thing I ever had to do. um, to to be number one on the call sheet, right? So when you're the lead in anything, you sort of control in some ways, even subconsciously, the tempo of a set, right? Because everything sort of revolves around the world of your character, but also the human being that is creating that character, and the energy that that character, that human being brings to set creates the timbre, the flow in many ways, very much like the director controls the timbre of the crew. And, we didn't have a big budget. So, we were basically getting like 3 takes at best for most of these sequences. And if you've seen if you want and you watch the teaser, you'll see the trailer. There's a sequence where I get a drills coming down, and I'm like clamping into this piece of leather. Like on the day, I was like, I want a piece of a leather belt, because that's what you would do if you're drilling in your own fucking head, And that was the first thing that we shot on day one, And so going just head first into the terror and the conviction of this thing was what I needed to do. So the only thing that I knew that I can control was the one thing that I knew I can control was my lines. So going into shooting 2 weeks before we were shooting, I already had 96 pages of dialogue completely off book, committed to memory. Because I know that as a producer, my job is to align an incredible team of people that I can trust. And we put our expertise forth, and we do the best that we can to then predict the future, right? Because that's what producing is, right? You put all your skills to the table, and then the rest is up to God. Is it going to rain? Is a production truck going to crash? Is an actor going to break an ankle? Is someone not going to be able to make it? Are you going to run behind schedule and you have to rewrite things? Like all these variables that the universe is throwing at you that you have to pivot and move in real time and adjust. You can't control those things. So I knew that the only thing I could control was knowing my dialogue and being completely prepared. And that was one of the one things that I think was the saving grace, right? Because I
Mhm.
was as a leader, I was asking a lot of my team and my crew. I mean, we had 15, 16-hour days at some points.
Wow.
And so when I'm asking and demanding that much of my team, I absolutely have to be prepared every single step of the way without fail. Shame on me if I ever show up on that set and don't know my lines. Shame on me if I'm not prepared to dive into a scene. Who cares what's going on? Shame on me if I can't deliver a performance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna demand and ask a lot of a team, I need to do that myself times two. And also the thing is, like, as the producer, is that like it's one thing if you're the lead actor and you got to work a 13-hour day. Well, if you're just the lead actor, you get to do 13 hours and you get to go home. I'm the showrunner. So I get to work 13, 14 hours as an actor, and then I work with my ADs, and then I work with my line producers, and then I work with my unit production manager, and I work with my co-producer, and I work with my director to schedule the next day. So when these lead actors get 13 hours, I'm doing 16, 17. I go home, I sleep for 2 hours, and I get up and I do it again. I had a day where I worked 28 hours straight, no sleep. You
Oh,
know,
snap.
it's just the nature of it. So, yeah, but this is the stuff that I'm made for. I'm built for this stuff, and I absolutely love it. Like I wouldn't want it any other way. I mean, the degree of work is obscene, but I wouldn't want it any other way. It just is what it is.
And you're dedicated, you're dedicated to your project. You're dedicated to making sure not only everything goes really well for yourself, but for everyone around you. And that's inspiring. You got to look at it that way. You're inspiring your team. Like, you know what? I want to go harder for this guy because he's going hard for me. You know what I mean? And that's the type of leaders many people want. They want to see that. They want to see their leader blood, sweat, and tears with them, and that's powerful, brother. Very
Thank you, brother.
powerful.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. And you're right. I mean, look, at the end of the day, like that's what it takes, right? That's what it takes. You have to be willing to go into the trenches and go really, really hard. And to your point, to inspire people. Now, I will also say this. The only reason I was able to execute the way that I did is because of the incredible human beings that I was surrounded by. I knew that camera, grip, electric, I knew that everybody's going to do their job to give me permission to just for the take, turn my producer mind off and immerse myself into the moment of this scene. You know, Grim, his character, he's an addict. And so he's in and out of benzodiazepine and he takes a lot of oxys. And so I had basically every single scene in the script, and I had a note tracker in my phone that said scene number, what time of the day is it? And then 1 to 10, what was his level of intoxication? so that I knew how to play these moments because we didn't shoot it in order. You never shoot a series in order. You shoot it all kinds of different orders. So I needed to make sure that my performance would be consistent. And so these are little like anecdotes that I needed to understand as an actor to make sure that I was delivering a consistent performance. Because you know what, my brother? I always say this to young actors is that like once it's in the can, I don't get a concession. Once it's on the screen, you're going to look at the show and you're either going to be like, well, either David was great or he sucked. Nobody cares about what I was going through. Nobody cares that maybe
Yeah.
we're running behind or I hadn't slept for 28 hours. Like nobody cares. It's like, is your performance good? Does it work or does it not work? And that is what we have to focus on as the actor. Are we telling an honest story that is delivering a performance that is bringing that text to life in a way that is going to make a guy like Vic and people that watch this show care about this man, believe his conviction, and want to follow him? And that's my job as the actor, irregardless of what I'm going through. And you need people around you that can create an incubator so that you can feel that trust and deliver to the best of your ability. And so, this is a big community experience. We had almost 700 people work on RZR, you know. And, speaking of inspiration, it's like, I think I gave 5 extras. I bumped them up to speaking roles. Our cast, 58 speaking roles, and only 6 of them are Caucasian. We're predominantly a Latinx, Afro-Latino, and mixed ethnicity cast. And so these are really important things to me to be able to inspire, to create opportunities for other people. The amount of jobs that we gave on this project is just immeasurable. People were able to pay their rent for a couple of months. Like to me, that's just such a blessing to be able to give that
That
back to
is,
the community.
and that's powerful there. You just said it right there. You gave opportunities to the people around you. The people out as a Latino, sometimes we don't get an opportunity for things. We have to claw and fight our way for even the smallest scraps, but we make those scraps work, we make those scraps grow, and then we unify that and showcase it in a way people don't realize, like, oh, why is he going the extra mile? You don't go the extra mile. You do everything at full speed. Now, I'm enjoying what you're doing, brother. I'm enjoying that.
Bless you, my bro. Thank you for saying that. And look, it's the truth, man. I've said it for when I first came to LA and I was doing extra work and I got my SAG card doing extra work and I was working as a waiter and a bartender and this and that. Like being ethnically ambiguous wasn't a cool thing. Like there was no Latinx category in the early 2000s in Hollywood. It's either you're white or you're black or you're Latino. And if they said you're Latino, you had to look like Antonio Banderas, right? It's like if you weren't Eurocentric, you weren't Latino. But wait a second, there's hundreds of millions of Afro-Latinos all over the world. Why do I not qualify? And so we're held to a higher degree of scrutiny. And we have to work 10 times harder to get the opportunities that our Caucasian counterparts have been given for over 120 years in the film industry. And so as a result of that, I take this incredibly seriously because if I don't succeed, I can't help people coming after me succeed. And we have to behave in a way and carry ourselves in a way that is of distinction, so that people will look at us and say, yeah, not only is, A, B, and C a great actor, but he or she is a great human being and they carry themselves with dignity. Like if you get it on a set with Emilio and Danny, like these guys are gentlemen. They show up, they're on time, they respect people, they care for people, they do their job, and that's it's admirable, man. These OGs and even people in the Black community as well, like just a lot of OGs that just show up and really do their job to the best of their ability, man. You need that to be able to continue to work in this industry.
Exactly. Exactly, man. So leading up, you're talking about opportunities, and I have read something about Gala Films,
Yeah,
where they're introducing a mystery box type reward for viewers. Could you tell us a little thing about that, and maybe some of
yeah,
the audience can get?
yeah. So one of the things that we're interested in, so just to give you some context, so Gala, Gala film. So Gala is a Web3 gaming company that then launched an ecosystem called Gala Music, which think like Spotify, but everything is basically backed by blockchain technology. And we now are launching Gala Film, which is the first of its kind. Never in the history of Hollywood has there ever been a Web3 company that has partnered with Hollywood to create TV series and also cinema. Gala Film, I think, has 8 titles that are going to be releasing in 2024, and it's a brand new streaming platform. And we're launching these things called mystery boxes. So when you set up an account on Gala Film, you'll be able to watch a show for free. I said it, FREE, free.
What?
Um, and so you'll be able to watch RZR for free. And when you set up your account, we're going to drop this thing in a digital wallet that we're going to create for you. And it's called a mystery box. So think about it like an instant scratch off. You're going to scratch it and then you're going to see what you get. All right. You open up the mystery box and you get a bunch of digital collectibles or, NFTs or whatever you want to call them. And so these are different pieces of lore and fandom pieces that we created after we finished the show. So once we finished all 8 episodes, we delivered it. Me and my co-writer Dan Pico, we went back in and me and Dan combined, we directed about 40 more minutes of bonus content and bonus footage with our cast. So like intercepted phone calls, forensic data, like, gritty like Sicario interviews and like first person vlogs and video journals and all this stuff that is not part of the show, but keeps you immersed. So imagine if you saw a scene with a girl who gets angry or whatever, right? And then you can hit a button and then you get a digital collectible that shows you that actor in character telling you their personal story about what you just experienced in the show. So the idea is to take fandom to a new level, right? And inside those mystery boxes, you'll be able to develop and collect scenes, right? So it's crazy, but for the first time in Hollywood history, people will be able to actually own scenes from a Hollywood produced series. And you'll collect pieces of the scenes. And as you collect them, the scene will come together inside of your digital user interface. And the more you collect, the more that you hold, the more that you earn. See, there's going to be creating a first ever watch and earn model where people are going to be able to earn passive cryptocurrency off the back of the success and the velocity of the show inside the network.
That's pretty
So
sweet.
it's pretty wild. Yeah. So in other words, we're gamifying the viewing experience,
Yeah,
right?
you're bringing the audience more into the show, more of what content that they're gritty content that they're wanting, you know?
Yeah, it's like, wow, when you get done watching a show, you want to watch the behind the scenes. If you fall in love with the show, you want to see a little bit of the behind the scenes. You want to know more about the characters. Like if you think about great IPs like Star Wars, like you fall in love with the show and you want to buy a poster, you want to buy a lightsaber, like you want a statuette of Jabba the Hutt, you want collectibles. So we're going to provide that stuff for you and gamify it in a way that not only are you going to be able to collect, you're going to be rewarded for collecting, and you're going to be rewarded for grabbing more mystery boxes, and you'll grab another mystery box and you'll collect all these assets. And it's a really fascinating way to experience entertainment. I personally think it's going to be the future, obviously being a part of it. So I'm excited.
That, that is great to hear. And a lot of people love mystery boxes, so this is something where it people get while they're enjoying the show. You give them that collectible, and that's really cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty fun. And I think the audiences are going to be really, really excited. But at the end of the day, it's like, Vic, it's like if the show sucks, nobody cares. Like, what's the point of a collectible if the show is shit, right?
Mhm.
But, as long as we do our job as creators and we create worlds and cinematic content that is compelling, that is visceral, that makes you want to go deeper into the world, as long as the show is good, mystery boxes will be a very, very successful proposition. And I think that mystery boxes around RZR are going to be very successful because I believe to my innermost self that the show really, really is that good. And not because I created it, because I've watched it over and over again, and the world is very, very exciting. And I think there's going to be a lot of curiosity, especially around the sci-fi scene.
Great to hear. Great to hear. We can't wait. And our last question: when does Razor come out for our fans?
Oh shit! Uh, RZR comes out. Very, very exciting. Hold on, ready? April 14th, 2024. Um,
Woo!
yeah,
Hello,
it's
everybody. April 14th, 2024. Razor will be coming out onto your screens.
Yeah, it's exciting, and we're dropping the worldwide trailer this Friday. It's it's savage. And yeah, so I'm excited, guys. April 14th, 2024. Episodes 1 and 2 will be available, and then subsequent episodes will release on Gala Film on a weekly basis thereafter. So I'm excited to connect, reach out to me on socials. I'm on X constantly. I'm on Instagram constantly. You can find me on TikTok. I mean, I'm definitely I'm in the ecosystem. I try to be as responsive as possible, and I try to be accessible. And I'm excited to hear everybody's feedback on the show.
Oh, perfect. I'll be make sure to put the links on here of the show, as well as your social media links where people could comment with you and watch with you
Yeah,
as well,
absolutely.
David.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, tap in. We're gonna be doing weekly talk backs, and I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's response on it. And I really, really appreciate the opportunity to talk about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, David. Links below, guys. Be sure to check out the show, enjoy it, and be immersed in the sci-fi dystopia. This is Vic from Drop Spotlight. We'll see you at the cons.